for our guest, Donato Callahan with AM Multifamily. Donato, I'm excited to have you on the show.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here today.
Great. Now, I always like to start off by finding out more about your story, your background, and how you got into commercial real estate.
Yeah, it's definitely a journey that I didn't expect to walk down. It was not the original plan.
Okay.
I would tell you, I think a lot of people are like that in this industry.
Yeah, for sure.
It actually started in college. So COVID hit, and frankly, I had nothing to do. And I was just pacing my apartment, trying to figure out if there was something that I could do. I had put money in the stock market a couple months earlier, and I saw it tank as soon as COVID hit. And I asked one question that every entrepreneur asks, which is, there has to be a better way.
Right.
So I started a wholesaling company my senior year of college, which we got a couple contracts down, but ended up not being the right venture for me until I eventually found a 96-unit property in St. Louis, Missouri, where I wrote an offer, found partners, got the offer accepted.
Wow.
All as a senior in college. Graduated school, spent 3 days road tripping back to Iowa. And then 6 a.m. the next morning, I was down in St. Louis with my contractors walking this property.
Nice.
And got all this on-the-job experience, essentially, learning how to set this deal up, only for that one to fall apart pretty much over financial disclosures and negotiations. And it was around that time that Thea, founder and managing partner of AMF, reached out to me saying, hey, I'm doing this multifamily podcast and webinar mastermind, looking to do this. I know you have some experience in it. Do you want to do it with me? And nice. At that point, I had been her tenant senior year of college. She was my
okay. Yeah.
And so her and I, when I was doing the wholesaling company, she would talk more and we'd talk about real estate and what we could do in our dreams. And she eventually reached out, and around that was like August 2021 at that point. And then over the past year, we just brought more people on and successfully closed 172 units and got a couple more in the pipeline. We're in negotiations on another one. We'll see what happens there. And we've got 2 more that came in the last couple of days. So
wow. Amazing. So you're busy. Obviously, you got into this at a pretty young age. You're what, 23 years old right now?
23 right now, yeah.
That's amazing. So you're 23 years old. How many total units do you have currently under management? And then how many do you think you might be coming in the pipeline pretty soon here?
Yeah. So we closed 172 in July, the great market of Waco, Texas.
Nice.
We are currently looking at 3 more deals right now. The one we're best and final on, it's around just over 70 units. And we have 2 more that are in the pipeline that we're going to look at, which I think together those 2 are around the 220, 230 unit range. And then I personally own 4 units, residential multifamily as well. I use that.
Nice. Okay, great. Now, you mentioned going from wholesaling, and then you said you kind of found a 96 unit. What was that jump? How did that happen? Like, that seems like a big leap. That doesn't just usually happen.
I like to take things that others say, hey, that seems a little bit too difficult for you to do, and then tell them to watch me do it. I typically like to make myself my biggest competition. And so after leaving wholesaling, which I left because I want to make sure that when I'm doing an investment, I'm investing my time, my energy, or my resources, that I'm getting paid and reaping the reward as often as possible. And it was my interpretation of wholesaling that it is a bit of a capital-intensive business when you're doing direct mailers or cold calling or text messaging marketing. A lot of people I know have a lot of success with it, but I get paid once on the closing. And then I started looking into how can I get paid more often? How can I reap higher benefits for the same amount of work? And so when I found multifamily, I'm getting, earning a paycheck when you close the property, you get your acquisition fee, some level of cash flow throughout the whole thing. Plus, I'm getting depreciation to write off my taxes, and I'm getting paid again when we sell the property. And I'm allowed to bring this amazing opportunity to people who invested for the stock market for so long, and they need somewhere else to put their funds. It just seemed much better fit for what I want to look at for my investment returns, and better opportunity for the people that I'm going to be working with.
Yeah. And, it sounds like the team is really, and the relationships that you built early on is really what helped to accelerate this. Can you speak more on that?
For sure. I know when we started having our 6-person team, we were told over and over again that you guys are too big, you're going to have to split. This is not the way to go. This is not the way. And we definitely undergo a lot of critique on that standpoint. And I totally understand now, I know a year after, where the coaches are coming from. The hard truth of business is that there are folks who tell you really what they want to do, and there are others that show you. And we found that, thankfully, the people that we have in our team are all people that want to consistently show up. They're asking how much more responsibility they can take on. They're being innovative with their solutions. And they're all people who get along really well. Not to say there aren't ups and downs, of course, in any team. But having the team that we did, segmenting ourselves into different aspects of the multifamily process, like finding deals, raising capital, underwriting, doing preliminary due diligence, coming all together, and then having enough of a social media presence and outreach, largely thanks to FIA, to be able to contact and network with the sponsors who thankfully we ended up getting along with very much with.
Nice. Yeah, I think sponsors are key, obviously, to this business, and probably the hardest relationship, I think, to establish when you're newer, because, they do want you to show certain things before they'll do business with you. Now, as far as your role within the team, what is it that you work on? What do you specialize in, and how do you fit in with the team dynamic there?
Yeah, so I originally created the Google Drive system that we use to process our deals. And within that system, I fall under the due diligence. And I tell the people all the time, you're going to see my personality come out a little bit here. This is my favorite thing to talk about. Due diligence is not something that you start once you get the LOI accepted. It's not something you start, months down the road. You are starting it when you get the property in your inbox. And it looks a little bit like this. So once our great underwriters, Quinn and Mowdy, take a property, and they typically get the numbers from the OM, or offering memorandum, they're going to plug those into our multifamily mindset given calculator, and we're going to do those Excel spreadsheets, and we're going to see, based off the numbers that the brokers themselves are marketing, does this deal work? Does it pencil out? That means, does it have the right cash on cash, ARR, IRR, cap rate, everything that we want to see, as well as reasonable expectations for payroll, insurance per door, the things that can really vary depending on what market you're in. Once they come back and they say this deal pencils at first glance, it comes to me and my partner, Manny. And we're going to do a couple of things in the due diligence pipeline. The first part is what I call the macro and the microeconomics. So first off, why are we investing in this state? Is it going to be friendly to us? Are we able to have friendly tax policies? Is it growing the way we need it to grow? On the macro scale, is this a place that in the next 3 to 5 years, we're likely going to be in a ability to sell this property for a significant increase? Second part is that micro. So if I'm looking specifically in one area, let's say in Chicago, for example, if I say I'm buying in Chicago, am I buying on the north side of Chicago, south side, east side, west side? Where am I buying in the city? Because where you are at within a certain city, different neighborhoods are going to attract different types of tenants. Different things are going to be in more desire. So we're looking at, if I'm looking in Chicago's end, I want to know, why are we buying this particular asset in this particular neighborhood? What are the local retailers? What are the local entertainment stops like Topgolf, movie theaters? Are there fast food chains that are nationally recognizable? Are there other apartments nearby? If so, are they the same or lower or higher class the apartment that we're buying? So we're looking at all of those things just to find out that we like the area that this asset is in, because we can change the property. And with the sponsors we have, the team we have, I have no hesitations about our ability to turn a property around. But our influence stops short past our drive-in gate. We don't have the ability to change everything around us. So step one is looking at, do we like the area that we're buying in? Second, we're also doing our loss to lease analysis, which I don't see many people do right off the bat. And that is looking at, if I have 2 apartments in that apartment complex, make it easy. They're both 1 bedroom, they're both 1 bathroom, and they're 500 square feet. And let's say they have the same finishes. So same lighting package, same kitchen package, everything's identical. If one person is paying $500, the other person is paying $700 for the exact same apartment, then I'm losing $200 per month in the loss to lease by having that lower paying resident in there. Because of the same floor plan, the same size, the same finish, theoretically, I don't have to spend any money besides a cleaning fee to get $200 more a month.
Right.
So what we do is we're going to go in and we're going to take the rent roll. And for every type of unit plan, so every floor plan, different square footage, and different finish level, I'm going to find who's currently paying the highest amount for that unit type. Okay, who's paying the lowest? And then I'm going to go person by person and find the difference. So for this unit is $100 difference. This unit is $10 difference. I'm going to find all those numbers and across all the different unit plans. And sometimes it sucks because there's like 20 different unit plans and you're doing it 5 hours of Excel spreadsheets. But in doing so, the result is I can say, hey, Quinn, hey, Maudie, our underwriting team, no kidding, this is how much money we can make back per month in loss to lease without spending a dime in CapEx for each individual floor plan. And so for teams that are only looking at rent premiums and they're not looking to see how much I'm going to have to spend per door in CapEx to get to a certain level, knowing that loss to lease makes certain deals that previously didn't look good, or makes deals have a bit more, I guess, a few more cherries on top. So we're taking that loss to lease, we're getting that number per door and saying, on average, we can raise $150 per door across an entire complex just by changing out who's living there. Then we go to rent premiums, and that's where Manny and myself, we are on the websites, we're doing a lot of research, we're going apartment by apartment, trying to figure out what are other people charging for apartments of the same floor plan, same size, same type, and have the same level of apartment and community amenities. Now, this is also where it gets fun. So many times I've called local apartment complexes and say, hey, my name's Tony. I'm a local college student coming down to Baylor next semester. Hoorah. I'm looking to rent an apartment here. And my mom gave me a list of a bunch of questions I'm supposed to ask you. Is it okay if I ask, what kind of like laundry machines you have and what kind of bedrooms you guys have? Works every time. I've been Tony, I've been Paul, I've been Johnny, I've been Tim, I've been David, I've been Maurice, I've been everyone. Doesn't matter.
Amazing.
And we're doing the phone calls, the on the ground work to find out truthfully what are other people charging. Because I know you've seen this before on websites. You go on to find out what it's renting. They say call for details.
Right.
Yeah. They don't want to tell you. They want you on the phone. And so we will do the painstaking work of calling those people. We've even done the work of walking apartment complexes. When we were doing the Waco deal, me and a couple other people we were with walked to other apartment complexes, and we were walking past one, and I happened to see there was like a Bank of America or a large, institutional bank that was right up the road. And so we walk into the front door. I'm like, hey, we're a couple of junior analysts at the bank right up the road. We're looking to get an apartment complex that we can rent for the summer. Can we look at a couple of units and see what you guys have? No problem. Walk us right in. Photo, figure out what kind of apartment finishes, what kind of amenities they have. And we do the on the ground research to make sure, these are the people that we're going to be competing with. These are the people that we need to be looking at when it comes to what we're going to be able to charge. And we get a better idea of what other people are providing as a service. Because at the end of the day, it is a service. And for our company, we want to make sure that the apartment complexes that we're purchasing and taking down, we are renovating to a higher level of luxury, a higher level of expectations. We want to make sure that we're not just skimming bottom of the barrel. We want to make sure that our clients, which truly they are, every single resident is a client, and there's a professional relationship with each and every one of them. That they're getting top-notch quality, top-notch service, and they're able to be extremely proud of the places that they live in. That's what I do.
Yeah, that sounds like very detail-oriented work, very time-consuming. How many hours would you say you probably spend on average just analyzing one deal?
Yeah, so it gets easier if we've done work in that market before. So if we're taking down one in Waco, all of a sudden I already know that the market's good. I know what neighborhoods I like, and I know what their average market rent premium is for certain layouts. So in something like that, it can be less than 2 to 3 hours because I'm just doing a new loss to lease analysis and just dotting my I's, crossing my T's. For a new market, for a brand new property, I'm in St. Louis, so I'll go to different cafes around town. I'll spend 5 hours on my computer just researching one property and running through all the different analyses that need to happen.
Got it. And then now, as far as your whole process, getting that first deal under contract, closing it. They say the first deal is the hardest to get. How long did it take you to find, your first multifamily deal?
Yeah, so we came together as a team, I'll call it August 2021, and we looked at about 96 deals before we finally got one under contract. And we think we got that property in Waco under contract in, I want to say March 2022. So we were looking at quite a few. I think we offered on around a dozen of them, maybe got best and final 6 times, got like top 2 a couple times.
Yeah.
Had our hearts broken, picked up the pieces, and kept going. There's definitely some heartbreak, when there's like, I feel really good about this deal and you think it's going to happen, and then it just falls out of your, out of your hands, and you got to put on your Taylor Swift and pick up the pieces of your heart and keep going.
Yeah. So there's definitely, you're going to see a lot more deals that pass you by, or not pass you by, but that you have to turn down versus the ones that actually you can get to the finish line. So it's good to know, like, so 1 out of 96. So basically you're looking at, 1% almost, right?
Almost exactly, which was pretty mathematically impressive, because we weren't expecting to have that true 1 in 100 record. And what I can tell you is now, after having done the first one, I think we've looked at about 40 since then, and for deal number 2, and we think we have our next one probably in this range of one we're looking at. So definitely a big improvement from 96. I don't expect us to take that long for this one, but it definitely gets faster simply because of one reason: you're proven.
Right.
The brokers only get paid once you close, and every phone call, every email, and every meeting you have with them from between they meet you and you close is unpaid work, technically.
Right. Yeah.
And you don't want to spend what limited time they have answering the phones from how many masterminds there are in the U.S., all telling people to go meet with brokers and introduce yourselves. They need to be able to weed out who's going to actually put money in their bank account. And once you've done that, now they don't want to spend the effort to go finding someone else's proven buyer. They want to keep coming back to you. And so now we have the same brokers coming back to us saying, look, I got this new off market. I got this new off market. I have this listing coming down. I think it's your criteria. It definitely gets easier once you've proven yourself as a buyer.
For sure. Now, obviously, when you close that first deal, that's with one specific broker. But did you find all the other brokers now are more willing to send you the off market, or is it just that one relationship that you closed with that kind of really accelerated?
I would say the one relationship we had with the seller's broker on this one has definitely increased the most. However, they are with a large organization, and so brokers talk, especially at the top. People have a lot of listings, continue to network with each other. So by nature of saying, hey, we bought this one, or when other brokers that we've talked to come back to us and they say, hey, I have something for you, and we say, oh, by the way, we just bought this one. Sometimes that will flip the switch for them and understand, okay, I need to spend more time on these guys because they're actually proven now. So it's kind of like waves of influence from we drop the pebble in the water and that one broker is going to have the most impact on our relationships, but the ripples effect continues to go out in any market that we're interested in because we're seeing the after effects of being able to prove that we're a good investment of their time.
Perfect. And kind of going back a little bit about the loss to lease you mentioned and the rent premiums, is there a certain dollar figure that you look for in both of those categories?
Kind of. So I actually created my own mathematical coefficient to make a number like that. So I kept finding that, if I have a property that's $10 million, 100 units, and the loss to lease is $100 per unit, is that better than, the same, or worse than like a $20 million property, 150 units and $150 loss to lease per door? I didn't know. So I made this little mathematical formula that calculates a coefficient or percentage for how good a property is on just specifically on loss to lease, by looking at the purchase price, the NOI, the number of units, different types of units, and the loss to lease per unit. And it spits out a number, which I call the loss to lease coefficient. And I'm typically looking for things that are between on that particular number, like a 4 or higher or 3 or higher. But it doesn't always prove 100% effective. It's my own little design. On a very general rule of thumb, I'd like to see $125 to $175 per door for any type of unit. Anything lower than that, I'm really not interested. But we do have deals where we see just recently, $400 in loss to lease per door, and that makes me really happy. But I would say that if I see 150 or 125, 175, I'm generally like, okay, we can continue putting with time into this asset.
Perfect. Now, in your bio, it says here, real estate software startup. Can you tell me more about what that is about?
Yeah, I would love to. So about this November, September of last year, I got connected with an individual who has extensive residential real estate experience, some networking and friends with some of the top people in the real estate industry. And we came together and we started talking about commercial multifamily. And over 5, 6, 7 Zoom meetings in the depths of winter, I decided to show him, hey, I have this really cool project that I'm working on. And it's something that I took from my college days. I was a biology major with a GIS minor. So basically mapping and satellites and how we can visualize information. And I thought, hey, wouldn't it be really cool if you could visualize real estate information on a map so it's easy to read and easy to understand? So I was working on this project, and at this point, I trusted my now partner well enough to say, hey, let me show you this really cool thing I'm working on. And I shared my screen. He looked at it, and he kind of like opened his eyes. He's like, I'm working on something just like that. And he showed me his screen, and where I had been focused on the local markets, he had the entire nation.
Wow.
And so we had that kind of this like, we have to do something here. So we made a company. And so within 3 months, we had organized a company. We'd hired a couple contractors for software development. We had our name, our logo. We'd raised capital, seed capital. So we've been working on this for almost a year now, pretty soon. And what it does is it visualizes real estate market data and helps people make brighter investing decisions, like being able to look at rents and crimes, and school ratings, appreciation, looking at job growth, businesses, population growth, all those things that influence where you buy and why you buy in a quick, easy to read, visualized platform that you can share with your friends.
Amazing. So when is this supposed to be launching?
It is scheduled to be launching in March 2023, pending everything going well. We're currently discussing with our software developers our timelines, making sure everything's moved forward. Definitely a lot of my time goes into it, managing development, as well as putting together the finishing touches on our homepage, our websites, and making it pretty to use as well as seamless to use. We're also reaching out to highly influential people within the real estate industry, people who we can work with to be affiliates for our platform and showcase our very lucrative affiliate platform system.
Yeah, it sounds like a software that would save us a lot of time when doing this due diligence, right? Because all those hours that you talked about researching the markets, me personally, I don't have the patience for doing all these things that you mentioned. So that's why it's good to have people on the team that are detail oriented like that can do all this, detailed work, calling every single apartment, that kind of thing. But it sounds like this software is going to streamline a lot of those things.
Very much so. That's what we hope. When we first started researching making this a commercial business, we found that there was a lot of products that kind of exist at the high end of the spectrum. So people, if you're going to Yarny Matrix or CoStar, if you're spending tens of thousands of dollars per year and you want super specific, very granular data, those products exist. But there's an entire sub-market of residential real estate investors and small-time commercial investors that have a use case that's not quite that specific, but they still need answers to those questions. They need to make bright investing decisions to make maximize the returns and minimize the mental stress of, did I buy in the right area at the right time? What's going on? And so we're really targeting those people, residential real estate investors, small-time commercial investors, people who have small operations, and they're looking to get those answers to those questions, as well as being able to see months and years into the future based off past performance, what's likely going to happen in this area. So that's what we're trying to do. Basically, bring the data to the people. What we're here for.
Amazing. So we've covered a lot of different topics. I would like to kind of open it up to you. What's something that you would like to share that maybe we haven't covered yet? Maybe a piece of advice or just something that, someone who's new wants to get into multifamily that can really learn and kind of put into practice.
Sure. A couple of things come to mind. Right off the bat, this is a philosophy I've held for a number of years now, but it is, and most often when I used it in relation to college, but it really pertains to any type of skill or experience or opportunity. And that is, it is your responsibility to yourself to pick it up and learn how to use it. Whether that's college, whether that's meeting certain individuals, having a certain meeting or opportunity. And using my example as college, when I showed up at school for the first time, I recognized it is my responsibility to learn how to use college to build the life that I want to live. No one else's. Some people can want good things for me. They can want to support me. And the same goes for real estate. If I want real estate to work, it's my responsibility to figure out how to make it work and network and provide opportunities for myself, and by nature of being around the right individuals. The life that you want to live is possible. It just takes more time than you think, more effort than you think, but it can be done. And it's something that really our unique situation by living where we do and having the opportunities that we do, knowing that through the sheer effort and the sheer hope and a little bit of luck, can't roll that out. There's always a little bit of luck when it comes to these types of things. But by dedicating yourself to an ideal or a goal or a principle, we all have the opportunity to better our own lives and, more importantly, the lives of our friends and our families for years, if not generations to come. And so for me, a lot of my internal motivation to continue on this path comes from the fact that I know that I'm creating something that's going to allow me to spend more time with my parents, my family, playing board games. I'm going to be able to send people on trips never thought they'd be able to send themselves on. And I'm going to be able to provide the resources that people around me need to continue to get started in things like this. I can continue to rise and raise other people as we grow. And I love being able to do that.
Amazing. Yeah, I think that commercial real estate really allows us to take people with us because it is a team effort. And so anyone, our family, our friends, they can get involved, whether they're as a passive investor or if they want to learn more about the business. There's just so many different opportunities. Everyone can bring their different strengths to the table. And it's really a collaborative effort. So thank you so much for being on the show. Where's the best place for people to get in touch with you?
Yeah, so that would be my company email. So that's donato@am-multifamily.com. You can also reach out to me on Facebook. I'm very active in the multifamily mindset Facebook pages, or you can find me on Facebook at Donato Callahan. Those are two of the best places, and I'd be happy to contact people who have questions, comments, concerns. And if you're in the St. Louis area where I'm at, I've met up with people in the past to go to meet in coffee shops and to sit down and talk through real estate. Happy to do those same things.
Thank you. Well, thanks again for being on the show. And I'm very excited for your career. I mean, you being so young at 23 years old, I can't wait to see what kind of things that you start to create in your future.
Thank you so much. I appreciate being here.
Today's show was sponsored by Synergy Capital Investments. To download your free multifamily investment guide for beginners or to schedule a call to learn about our upcoming investment projects, go to thrivewithsynergy.com. That's thrivewithsynergy.com or click on the link below.